We will start with introducing the discussion participants. Let me start from Kristina Šermukšnytė-Alešiūnienė, who is AgriFood Director. Gintaras Vilda, who is Interino LTLPK initiator. Erika, Tauraitė-Kavai, Science, Innovation and Technology Agency. Smart InoTech expert.
Mantas, Vilys, Lietuvos inovacijų centro direktorius. Sveiki.
Good afternoon. I would like to ask you are one of the initiators of digitalization in Lithuania. Please, could you tell us more about the value and establishment of digital centers in Lithuania? Thank you very much. Thank you very much for introducing me so nicely. I see that you are doing really well, and I see that there were so many people here and used to be here. And I do remember back in 2016 when digital technologies changed a lot. So we have to understand how we communicate, because everything will be very soon and will change very soon. Now quite a lot of people understand that. Very often people thought that the digital technologies will never touch upon their life, but now they have become a norm. We live in our working place. We now are listening to this forum at home, in the garden, working, or sometimes in some other EU member state. So I was asked to tell what is happening in the digital agenda and to look at the things that are happening. This is a great challenge, a very difficult challenge, to show what has been done in some 4 years. And I like to speak, so it's going to be really difficult. Back in 2016, the European Commission formed 2 high-level groups, the digital centers and digital platform, and the working group. And I had to take part in that. And one of the working groups submitted the first report, which said that if we want to ensure really good the advantages in improving the products and adopting the models, that was really a major thing. So in order this to happen, this should be a dynamic sector, and this digital sector should be acceptable to all businesses. And the working group looked at the digital innovation centers as a possible solution. After some time, what challenges are awaiting for us. What important changes should be provided to the digital information centers? How shall we ensure their network in Europe? And what investment should be needed for improving this sector? And Limfra, APK, and other universities started seeing that as an opportunity. And together with the innovations and the Ministry of Economy really looked into the future. They created the industrial platform, and they focused on the industry that would be digitalized and also green. If the platform was the first tool to plan transformation, digital information centers became the second tool in order to execute this information, implement it. And digital information centers are only at their beginning in Lithuania. We all understand that they will become different in a few years. But now, only a few years passed when the Minister of Economy and Innovations helped some brave investors to start their work, to implement consultation work together with different university clusters. They provide not only digital audits and innovation audits, but help to prepare strategies to improve competitiveness, to improve production services, improve them by digitalization. Such centers are working as a one-stop shop and help companies to digitalize their business on the local level. By applying business principles and models of services, they help the clients to solve different issues and to access the services that couldn't be accessed otherwise. Therefore, we have to focus the users and suppliers of digital services in one chain of value. So, using this audience, I would like to encourage all those active in the sector of agriculture, experts, to come together and use the digital innovation tools in order to implement the CAP. And the Ministry of Agriculture, in this case, I would encourage it to facilitate and to repeat the success story created by the business community and the Ministry of Economy and Innovations. So that's it for now. Thank you very much. Thank you for the encouragement and the reminder to Lithuanian farmers and people working in this area that they should be more active. And now, Ms. Šermukšnytė-Alešiūnienė, we'd like to hear from you what business should start with in order to use the Digital Innovation Center Hub services from practical side. Hello again. Some of you I'm seeing for the second day in a row. And for those who are joining for the first time, I'm pleased to welcome you here. I'm happy to take part in this discussion together with people who have a great impact in the creation of the digital innovation hub ecosystem in Lithuania. Our digital innovation hub in Lithuania was also created, and I also was honored by Mr. Vilda to get his advice about how to proceed. And we were trying to develop an ecosystem that would be useful to the business, that would have added value to the entire food supply chain. So to come back to the direct question, Ruslanas, most probably we would have to pay attention, as Mr. Vilda said, what is the main role of digital innovation centers? Roughly, it could be distributed into 4 service types. So one service group is the so-called test before you invest or try out the digital technologies. I believe this step is very important when farmers, business people, or other professionals can address a Digital Innovation Center and receive consultations and answers to various questions, what technologies could be implemented and how they would provide benefits to this specific business. Because when we speak that we are about to experience double transformation, the Green Deal and the digitization. So we sometimes tend to forget or overlook why we are doing this, why we are going to digitize. We are all speaking how important and useful this is, but let us first of all remember that it is first and foremost for increasing business competitiveness. As I said, business can come to the Digital Innovation Hub and ask for advice about which technologies should be implemented before investing, and also to get support and resources for the technologies, for testing of the technologies. Another group of services provided by digital innovation centers is about training or high expert knowledge and training, adapting the knowledge inside the companies. Digital innovation centers consist of a group of partners, and the same in our case. Our important partner is the Vytautas Magnus University, which provides similar consultations and trainings and can help business adjust to the changing business environment. The next service group is about startups and creating the ecosystem for them. Those of you who were present yesterday, Igor Iržikevičius presented an excellent presentation about why we need startups or why we support them and create favorable conditions for them. Because probably no one would object that even though today digital technologies and technologies as a whole are getting somewhat cheaper, but they still remain an investment intensive in financial and human resources. And startups in this ecosystem take up a very important role. These are people who help us to get as big value as possible with as low resources as possible, as was said in the previous panel. Namely, that we need fewer resources and higher value. And finally, and the fourth part of the services would be international networking, a digital innovation hub acting not only nationally as a one-stop shop principle, service provision for digitization. It also serves as a gateway to European networking in other EU member state digital innovation hubs, which is, again, very important. We don't necessarily have all the technologies in Lithuania, but thanks to strong cooperation among other digital innovation hubs, we can exchange knowledge, technology, both the Lithuanian technology experience can be transferred to international networks. Equally, we could take over and adapt digital technologies from the international network that have probably been created and proven efficient in other member states and only have to be adapted in Lithuania. So that's the first step. What should business do? Address directly a digital innovation hub. Moreover, let me stress that the guidelines of European digital innovation hubs published by the European Commission, one recommendation was that each member state should consider and have at least one digital innovation hub operating in the area of agri-food competence. This is an important position and once again highlights that this sector is very important and in one way or another, while to quote member of the European Parliament, Mr. Olekas, who spoke yesterday, this is an inevitable fact. This is a question of time only, but it is inevitable. We have to go towards digitization. Ms. Melnikienė also mentioned that the green transformation and the Green Deal objectives can be perfectly achieved through digitization. It would help achieve the green course objectives faster and better. Thank you very much. A message to the business. Please address a digital innovation hub. These hubs are there for you, eager to help you achieve all of your goals as quickly as possible. So I would like to ask Ms. Erika how Digital Innovation Hub influence and importance will grow in the coming 5 years. A very easy question. Thank you for your question and for your introduction. It's hard to say anything new because colleagues have addressed a lot of topics already. The further development will depend on the interest from the business, agriculture sector, and the internal competences. I could say that the long-term objective that has been touched upon in the previous discussions is that the Lithuanian agriculture, thanks to digital technologies, should turn into a developer, not only user of agricultural technologies, because digitization helps streamline the processes. But a simple farm can be streamlined and it will always remain a small farm, and it is very good. But our mission is somewhat larger. Our current challenges are not only about circular economy and the regenerative farming, but in fact, soil is depleting very quickly in all industrial farmlands. So the question, in fact, is how to farm and produce more agricultural produce without depleting the resources we have. On the other hand, agriculture is responsible for 1/3 of greenhouse gas production globally. So another challenge that the agriculture sector faces is to control how much gas is produced, what is the reduction rate. So these are the challenges. And the success of developing digital networks will be evaluated in the long term. Of course, there is a short-term perspective as well, namely how many companies have adopted the technologies and so on. But the key goal is to make human development more sustainable. In Lithuania, we don't discuss this as much, but European countries in Denmark and Scandinavia, there are active discussions about the integration of agricultural sector with urban development programs, with nature reservation programs. And in the long term, digital innovation hubs will try to help agricultural companies to adopt and get used to the existing technologies. On the other hand, I do hope that there will be a dialogue among agricultural companies and technologists, and will help develop our own technologies. And perhaps in 5 years, Lithuania will be not only a renowned exporter of grains, but also an expert of the agricultural technologies for growing and production, able to offer methods or techniques how to grow bigger harvests without depleting further the soil. Of course, networking, technological support, consultations, and platforms are also very important. Colleagues also said, and I've noticed this working with industrial companies, that they need help not only with technologies, but also with the area of vision. And if there are all technological possibilities, agricultural companies can become leaders and visionaries. And then we'll just have to look for skills and technologies. Thank you very much. And now let me address Mr. Vilys with the same question. What will be the importance of seeds in the future? Very briefly, a lot of important things has been said already about the importance of digital innovation hubs in the future. They were born as an effective platform for those who wanted to use the possibilities brought about the digital revolution. It's like a box of Pandora. Once you open it, there's no way back. And it is obvious that the constant striving for improvement and excellence, not getting satisfied with the status quo, is the way forward. So I believe that the demand, importance, and significance of digital innovation hubs will grow. So that's it briefly. Thank you very much. Now I would like to ask you, as well as all the other discussion participants, how do digital innovation hubs can help fight the outcomes of COVID-19? Well, the COVID situation has sped up the spreading of digital technologies, and at the same time open up possibilities of dialogue among developers and businesses and science, because businesses have realized the importance and inevitability of the digital aspect. The question is which technologies should be selected and used. There has to be a connection found with the existing business processes. So currently, this need is very big. We have to decide and react fast. Currently, quite many companies have been bombarded with various offers and decisions to implement various technologies, and companies find it really difficult to choose here and now because their survival is at stake. And digital innovation hubs, being a non-biased platform, is really playing a very important role here. And through this platform, businesses can be helped to decide faster and more efficiently. So these unbiased advice and consultations are very important. The companies should be helped to choose the best solution for them. So this is an important feature of digital innovation centers. And in the COVID situation, quick and efficient decisions can be helped by and assisted by digital innovation hubs. So the COVID situation has really proven very relevant to the digital innovation hubs. So I wish you to contact the consultants in these hubs, and you will be advised. Thank you. Now I'd like to ask the same question to Erika. A great question. Thank you. Like a colleague mentioned, also mentioned a lot. What can digital centers do? They can help to manage the production process. We live at the times of changes, and every company lives with different scenarios. They don't know how to behave. They are looking for ways, solutions, and digital centers can help implement all the necessary programs and equipment so it could be more efficient in terms of process management. Look and observe what is happening in on the market. These are technologies that existing at the moment. And what was new in terms of COVID is that health as a theme emerged. Food that is nutritious, and we have a huge problem that we have a high-calorie food but very little nutritious value. And Lithuania could be a good case if we had data about that and businesses could market that. It's not only enough to market. PR is not everything. We need to invest into monitoring of nutritious value. And there are technologies for that. And so this would be it. Data management and also scanning of different technologies. And those centers could help here in trying to manage the crisis and the upcoming crisis. Well, those centers, how can they help tackle the pandemics? Why are you addressing me? Have you heard my question? I had your question. Well, the question is great. Just I didn't understand whether you're addressing me. Colleagues mentioned a lot about the main aspects where digital innovation centers could contribute in tackling COVID-19. Just a happy piece of news. For a long time on the internet, we could find a picture. There was a question, what prompted or encouraged the digitalization of your company, director, IT manager, or COVID-19? So here we could also look from a better point of view. COVID-19 helped us to digitalize. We need to look at the food chain, food supply chain in its general sense. Well, we heard a lot in terms of different experts. At the same time, the food chains remained the most resistant, and we need to strengthen them. Digitalization becomes one of the most important things. Well, in every part of the chain, digitalization has to bring added value. If we talk about primary production at the farmers, and collecting the data. Precision farming is not something new. We not only have the data, but also artificial intelligence comes in handy here. We can apply artificial intelligence which can help us forecast what is happening in on the market, forecast the needs of final consumer, get the feedback, and so on and so forth. So we can go through the entire food chain and find very, very specific what the digitalization. I see COVID-19 as something and during that encouraged things, because everything changed. What changed the food chain? Digitalization gave us a lot of value. Mr. Gintaras, the same question. Well, colleagues, I think, said everything that needed to be said, and they haven't touched upon the main issue. Erika said that this is a great area for discussions, and this could help us. The other aspect which is important is public sector. Is very important when fighting COVID. And public sector can involve itself because creating innovations is expensive, and during crisis it's even more expensive because we're lacking money for survival, and here we need to create innovations. So these centers become a tool that could show where the money is. These centers have good networking with Lithuanian innovation centers and with the agency and the ministries and associations. It's very important to be close to them, and the access to money in the European Union is very important. So the agency is really introducing and implementing a very important initiative, Interina. Within 9 months, via Horizon 2020, invested about 60 million euros into science and technologies. And a lot of things are implemented in Europe, and with the help of such initiative, we could access such projects and partners. And by the end of the year, 1 billion will be invested. Public finances are not only in Lithuania, and not only in Lithuania we have such public institutions. And we have to fight the pandemics and to create innovations. But we have to also use the potential in Europe. This is really an important tool. And the other tool that helps us to implement the policy, be entrepreneurial, is this. So this would be my main item, and I would like to encourage Lithuanian businessmen to address those centers. We are very often the ones who suffer on their own in silence, and we don't really address others. And these are really good centers that could give a real breakthrough. And as discussion participants said, this is a great platform, so address it, and it's going to be very, very good. Thank you very much, the discussion participants. Thank you very much, and have a good day.